Can other creatures get possessed, or is it just humans? If I die mid-podcast, is my ghost cursed to podcast forever? All of these questions you can find the answer to on This Paranormal Life! Hello everyone and welcome back to This Paranormal Life, the comedy paranormal podcast where every week we investigate a brand new paranormal tale and come to a conclusion at the end to decide whether or not it truly is paranormal. My name is Rory Powers. Across from me sits Kit Greer-Mulvena, and as always, we are here today to bring you an exciting paranormal story brought to life using music and sound effects, and then quickly shut down by inevitably saying that we don't think it's real.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Well, you don't know what this episode is about.
All right, clearly. The audience do. They've seen the title.
They have seen the title, and let me tell you, if you read the title of this podcast and still decided to hit play, kudos is what I'll say. You're a braver man than I, because this episode is quite a terrifying one. It is a listener submission by Danan Mikalir, who said, "Hey guys, Danan here, recent listener and instantaneous Patreon supporter." That's my favorite kind of listener.
Danan.
Love the pod so much that I've already blitzed through all the episodes, regular and bonus. It's given me so much joy during lockdown. Okay, needless to say, I think we received this email a couple of years ago.
Slightly old email.
So thank you. However, I'm amazed that you haven't gotten around to doing an episode set in the Congo, a country with possibly the most cryptids located within its borders. It's one of the few areas of the earth where there are still unmapped regions and dense forests and lakes untouched by perhaps any human eye.
So true.
He went on to list a number of paranormal creatures that are supposed to reside in the jungle, but one in particular caught my attention.
This is home to a primitive native Indian tribe called the Piaroa. But the people here say this jungle is home to something else. Monster spiders.
That's right. Today, I am conquering one of my greatest fears. Not commitment, but spiders. Giant spiders.
Yeah, you're not kidding either. I think you don't like spiders.
No. No.
I mean, not everyone. Most people don't love them. Let's be honest. They're not cuddly, lovable. They don't kind of. I've said it before on the podcast. I'm team mammal.
For sure, yeah.
I'm vegan. I like all animals to an extent. I think they're all pretty neat. But and specifically team mammal. I think we share a lot of obviously evolution. I think we feel the same kind of chemical receptors. If you're a mammal, you like hugs, warm cups of hot chocolate,
Nipples.
You like milk.
Both having and sucking.
Yes, we're kind of on a level, kind of mutual understanding.
Yeah.
Spiders, I don't think they even know what hot chocolate is.
What are you?
I think they have a different like way of looking at the world, and not only because they have 8 eyes.
Yeah. If you can shoot sticky fluid from your ass, you're not one of my buddies.
Yeah.
I don't know what you are. It looks like you came to Earth on a meteorite.
You're not welcome at the cookout.
No, it's a weird thing.
To say the least.
I don't like it. Whereas even when I watch the Planet of the Apes movies, I'm kind of like, I'll join the monkey side.
Yeah.
I see my brothers there.
Like, to prove the point, aren't there children that were raised by wolves? Not just Romulus and the other one. But I think there are real people who've been raised by animals, because when push comes to shove, even a meerkat will be like, close enough.
Yeah,
it'll
say
a human baby, and I'll be like, that's fine.
No child has been raised by spiders. And if they have, I don't want to meet that child.
It walks like in the ring.
All right, well, let's dive in to this week's episode of the podcast. A quick reminder that you can get every episode of this podcast ad-free on patreon.com. And if you go on our website, you can also pick up tickets to our upcoming US and Canadian tour. Check it out. And just before we jump into today's episode, I am so excited to finally announce that we are going back on tour around the UK and Ireland this October. This Halloween, we'll be taken to the stage for some live podcasts in Glee Club Glasgow on the 28th of October,
New Century Manchester on the 29th, Sugar Club Dublin on the 30th, our first time in Dublin, Ireland, very exciting, and rounding it all out, the big one, in London, Clapham Grand on the 2nd of November. Tickets are available at thisparanormallife.com/tour. They're going on sale on Friday at 10 a.m. UK time. That's the 1st of August. But patrons always get tour ticket pre-sale, so they will get first dibs on tickets on Thursday at 10 a.m. If you do want to get access to that pre-sale, sign up to Patreon and get a bunch of other cool rewards at patreon.com/thisparanormallife. Link is in the description of this podcast. So that's Thursday, 10 a.m. for the pre-sale, Friday, 10 a.m. for the general sale. Please pick up a ticket, come see us. It's our first tour in like 2 years around the UK. We could not be more excited to see you there this Halloween.
Our story today begins all the way back in 1938. We're in a place we don't visit much, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. English explorers Reginald and Marguerite Lloyd were driving down a bumpy dirt road through the thick, lush jungle.
It's a good thing we left when we did. I wouldn't want to be in this jungle after dark.
Heavens, no! You never know what sort of creature you might... Good heavens, Lloyd! What is that? Lloyd slammed on the brakes, his car skidding along the dusty trail. In front of them was a large, shadowy figure crawling out of the bushes and across the road.
What is it? Some sort of jungle cat?
No. A monkey? Or some kind of human? As the creature crawled into full view, the two explorers couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was an enormous spider, roughly the size of a wolf, scuttling across the road in front of them.
Marge! Marge! Get my camera!
Lloyd scrambled to get his camera, but it was too late. By the time he was ready, the creature was gone.
It had eaten the camera.
Like Spider-Man, whipped it out of his hands.
No photos, bitch.
They didn't know it at the time, but they had just encountered the legendary J'ba FoFi.
Whoa.
The giant spider.
I like that name.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I don't know what the because there's probably a number of languages in the Congo, I'm guessing.
Yep. I don't know specifically which one this is, but I can break it down for you. J'ba meaning giant, and FoFi is the word for spider. Like any spider.
Yeah.
So if you saw one, you'd be like, FoFi.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, because if spiders are called FoFi, that sounds like the average spider is 4 feet high, which is extremely disturbing.
J'ba FoFi also sounds like the name of a Star Wars character.
I think that's why I like it, because it sounds like it sounds like Paul Atreides killed that guy on Arrakis.
Right,
in a knife fight.
Like you meet him at a bar in the Dagobah system.
Yeah.
J'ba FoFi here, reporting for duty. Look, this is obviously a terrifying situation. It's lucky that they got away from it. I mean, I have to give them respect for slamming on the brakes, because I'd slam down the accelerator if I saw a creature like this.
An insect this size is worrying, because all I know from being a kid and reading books and shit is that they would say insects are proportionally for their weight ultra strong, invincible.
Yeah.
They said if an ant was the size of a human, it could lift up the Empire State Building itself.
Yeah.
It could backflip 300 times in the air and slam down the ground like Goku.
Yeah.
So if a spider is this large, I don't know, that your car's probably just going to crumple into a tin can if you run into this thing.
Exactly. And how are you going to defeat this thing if it attacks you? There isn't a newspaper large enough to roll up in the world.
Yeah.
Well, while this is one of the best documented encounters with this nightmarish creature, it isn't the only one. Allegedly, the first time this creature was spotted by a Western explorer, it cost him his life. According to the legends, British missionary Arthur John Symes and his traveling party were making their way through the jungle in the Congo, slashing through the thick brush. Chin up, chaps. I know it's a little hotter here than it is back in Kensington, but I know that if we stick together, we'll... What is this? Symes tried to move, but he was tangled up in something jetting from tree to tree. You just know that this is the part in the movie where Symes is like, Somebody, and then his guide, like, puts his hand over his mouth and he's like sweating loads and he points to a bush in the corner where you can hear rumbling, you know?
Yeah.
Like some Jurassic Park shit. Before Symes could wrestle free, 2 giant spiders raced out from holes in the ground.
Oh, Jesus.
Good heavens! Symes wrestled to remove himself from the tangled web. He managed to lower his arm and whip out his pistol, shooting one of the beasts before it could reach him. But the other sank its spidery fangs into his shoulder. While he and his men did escape, days later he developed severe chills, eventually becoming delirious before falling unconscious and dying. My guy got bit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the problem with the jungle. It's hard to know if he was ultimately succumbed to a poison or if, honestly, any open wound in the jungle in this time period that goes untreated would ultimately probably cost you your life.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to talk about a lot today is, for us, city boys, who also live in places where there aren't really any dangerous bugs.
Yeah.
This seems so foreign to us. So crazy that a giant bug could come bite you and kill you.
Yeah, you live in the concrete jungle, but I don't know how we would fare in the jungle.
Yeah. And the Congo, that is a place where probably there's a lot of weird insects that get pretty big. Insects that if they did bite you, they will kill you. But I think today what we're going to hear is a lot of testimonies from people who know these jungles, know this region, and even they are spotting this creature that they claim is beyond anything they've ever seen before. I've told this story on the podcast before, but I remember one time sleeping back in Northern Ireland, and I woke up because I felt a tickle on my face. And when I opened my eyes, a spider so large it looked like a shadowy hand was clasped onto my face. It was honestly, without exaggeration, the size of a Mickey Mouse glove. It was enormous.
This is exaggeration.
And I threw it so hard at the wall, I heard a thud when it hit. And it went down.
Calm down. I think the biggest spider in the world, I don't remember, but I think I read in one of those books I was talking about when I was reading when I was a kid, that it's like, they were like, think a dinner plate. That's from leg to leg.
Right.
We're talking a dinner plate. And those eat birds.
Yeah, some of them do eat birds.
They do eat birds.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about spiders, how they work, why they are the size they are, and why they usually don't get bigger a little bit later in the podcast. But we need to figure out today what we are dealing with when we talk about the J'ba FoFi in particular. Because as you can tell, this isn't some sort of super spider. It feels like what we're dealing with here is entering the category of cryptid.
Sure.
Mythical beast. Despite these frankly insane stories, and the fact that I can't find any proof that Arthur John Symes actually existed, there is a lot of evidence to prove that the J'ba FoFi is a real cryptid.
That's an interesting throwaway line there.
Had to speed through that one really quick.
Yeah.
There are a lot of articles that tell this story, and then I think when you dig a little deeper, they're like, cool, can I see a picture of him? And they're like, nope, he's dead. His head exploded after the spider bit him.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, that's coincidental.
The spider went to Kensington and destroyed all the records of his birth and death as well.
Don't worry, kid. I know you're going to love this section coming up. In the diary of famous naturalist and cryptozoologist William J. Gibbons, he wrote about a visit to Africa where he discovered more than he was looking for. You see, Gibbons was originally in Africa to try and hunt for a cryptid known as Mokole Mbembe. I thought that name might sound familiar because I think we maybe talked about him in that episode.
Yeah, well, I couldn't remember. We'd done Mokole Mbembe recently, and I knew it was Congo adjacent, but I couldn't remember if it was specifically in the Congo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mokole Mbembe is, I believe, essentially a dinosaur that still exists, apparently, in the jungle. We did a whole episode on it. Kit did a fantastic job. Definitely go listen to that. That's what this explorer was originally hunting for.
Doesn't it suck when you find more than you're looking for? Like that,
I mean, sometimes.
It rarely ends well.
I guess if you're like looking for muffins.
Yeah.
And you find more muffins than you thought, you're like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You're right, but it sounds ominous. It always sounds ominous.
Yeah.
Like saying a guy went to go buy muffins and he found more than he was looking for sounds like he was shot in the head in the bakery.
That implies he didn't find muffins.
His life was ended.
Yeah.
He found a bullet in his skull.
Is there ever a time where it's good that you find more than what you're looking for? Medicine? If you need medicine, that's pretty good.
Yeah, or like, you strike up a friendship and it blossoms into a romance.
Oh, that's sweet.
One could find more than what they were looking for.
That's cute. I like that, actually.
Yeah. But that is a tiny percentage of the time people find more than they're looking for. Let's be honest. Most of the time, they find an ancient dinosaur that eats them piece by piece in the jungle.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to find more than you're looking for if you're a cryptozoologist.
Yeah. You're already looking for the most fantastical beast ever imagined. So you're already looking for everything.
It's like saying, yeah, I came into this jungle looking for Godzilla and I found more than I was looking for. How? How did you find more than that? That's impossible.
Yeah. And don't say Jesus. All right. Don't say like faith or so. Oh, I don't want to hear that.
There you go. Yeah. That's usually the one that they say is the most you can find.
Yeah. God damn it. That doesn't count.
Well, in his search for the Mokole Mbembe, he accidentally stumbled upon stories of another creature. He wrote, "On this third expedition to Africa, they speak of the J'ba FoFi. These giant ground-dwelling spiders are said to be extremely dangerous, not to mention highly venomous. The spiders are said to lay white, peanut-sized eggs in a cluster. They're once very common, but now a rare sight. The Baka chief, Timbo, casually mentioned that a spider had taken up residence behind his village when I'd last visited him. He did not think that we would have been interested in the creature, as our interest was focused on Mokole Mbembe at the time. Valuable evidence has eluded us. On questioning our group of 6 Baka guides, they said they have all seen these spiders at one time or another, and state they are quite capable of killing a human being." So not only do we have a written record of these things actually existing, but the locals in the region talk about them like it's not a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, this is something we kind of see a lot, whether it's Mokole Mbembe or this. It's kind of an interesting side to cryptozoology. I mean, we're talking about going to places where, to us, it might be a mythical, never before heard of creature, but if it is real, then this is just daily life for the people who live there. They don't know, they don't know to lead with that information. You shake hands with the guy in the Congo and, is it his job to be like, it's like, oh, welcome to the Congo. You're probably going to want to hear about, the giant spiders and the giant dinosaurs. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because they don't know. They'd be like, oh, wait, you don't have those?
Yeah.
What? How big are the spiders where you live?
How do you guys get around? How do you get to work without the giant spiders? Right?
It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. They turn up riding an ant. Whoa, Betty, feed it a crumb.
Totally. Same way that if they came to Kensington, in the case of our fictitious explorer, apparently, he wouldn't know what to lead with. Like, hello, we eat beans here. And they're like, right. Jesus, what's that?
What are those?
Yeah. I can't think of an animal that we have that they don't.
They're like, are you eating FoFi eggs? It's like, no, these are baked beans.
These are peanuts, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's a traditional saying in the Congo. How do you like your FoFi eggs in the morning?
Scrambled FoFi eggs. It is worrying that the eggs of this creature look essentially like peanuts. Because I would go on record and say that I do not have the instincts of a survivor. And if I was lost in a jungle like the Congo, and I push some branches aside and see a bunch of peanuts on the floor, I'm going to start eating them.
Yeah, you don't know when you're going to next see food. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, does that work? Because that sounds small, but then when you think about how small real spiders' eggs are, which I don't like thinking about.
I know.
But they are microscopically small.
Super tiny.
And then they grow into something reasonably big. So yeah, probably. Yeah, if you start off life as a peanut, if you're a peanut spider, you're probably going to grow to be the size of a California redwood. You're
gonna be pretty big. The Baka people reported that the J'ba FoFi have been known to trap and eat animals as large as an antelope.
An antelope.
An
My
antelope.
God.
Kind of, if you're not familiar, similar to like a small deer, I would say. You know, a mammal that can run. The Baka people say that the J'ba FoFi are not seen much in the jungle anymore, and that may be because, although the creatures can be poisonous, they're also delicious.
Really?
Even
That is a
considered,
plot twist.
they're considered a local delicacy.
I mean, that's at least a cooler plot twist than I thought you were just going to say, like, climate change has sadly destroyed the Fofi population.
Yeah, the peanut eggs, they taste like peanuts.
Yeah,
They're really
okay.
good, it turns out. No, I guess, I don't know, spider legs. Like, people do eat bugs.
Yeah, huge proportions of the world eat insects. We just don't do it that much here.
Well, listen up. fellas.
Although, don't get me started on lobsters, bugs of the ocean. All right, and you guys are pretty okay with eating those, apparently.
Did you know I looked this up? I need to get this fact right because every time I say it, it sounds like my brain is short-circuiting. But I saw an article the other day that scientists were saying that it's a misconception that people think shrimp are the bugs of the sea, when in reality, bugs are the shrimp of the land.
Nah, all right. Put down the dab rig for those scientists. Put down the dab rig. Put down the edibles. That's not science.
It is because
But are you saying everything started in the sea?
everything came from the sea.
Yeah.
So you're saying like, oh, the fish and they're the bugs that live in the sea. It's like, no, the bugs are the shrimp of the land. That's what they originally were, is like crustaceans. And
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
it is crazy.
Yeah.
We're fish of the land.
Things that, but I think the reason the ones in the sea are so disgusting, like the tetrapods or whatever they're called, and lobsters and stuff like that, is like is because they're so big. Like that's what bugs look like during dinosaur times.
Yeah.
On land.
Pretty big, which I don't necessarily understand how that works, because you'd think if you're a bug of the sea, the amount of water pressure you're dealing with means you're not going to get that big.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess.
I don't know. Maybe fish are affected differently by that type of thing. I guess they must be.
Yeah. God damn it.
Whereas we're like, a bunch of rich people tried to go down in a submarine and it imploded underwater. Like, we're not built to go that deep.
Yeah.
We're really not.
All what I'm hearing is if you bring one of those bugs up to land, they're like Superman. Like Superman, he was like, oh, the gravity is 10 times less on Earth than on
Right.
where the Krypton,
Yeah, I think so.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was because on his planet he was a bitch. That was the whole point of the show.
Yeah, he was like a weak little baby that they sent away.
Whereas on Earth he's a Chad. He was
Yeah.
like, oosh, oosh.
That's why we need to fund NASA to find the nerd planet in our solar system. Full of like weak little aliens.
Yeah.
So like I can go down and I'd be like a god to them.
It's kind of just the moon though. Like if we're just it's unfortunate that there is no population on the moon that we know of. Let's dig under and find them. But let's say if there was a basketball league on the moon,
Oh yeah.
humans would dominate. I would be in the NBA, the Moon Basketball Association or whatever it's called.
The NBA.
The NBA. I would be dunking on people left, right, and center because I would just simply glide like in Space Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Using the zero gravity.
Dunking from half crater. Just floating through the air for like 45 seconds. Hell yeah.
And I can't remember, I don't remember what Mars gravity is like, because Mars is a good, like we might, Elon Musk might get his way, we might get there as a civilization. Do you remember what the gravity is like on Mars? I think it's quite close to Earth.
Let me search it up. Apparently the average gravitational acceleration on Mars is about 38% of the gravity on Earth.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
You're good.
It's good. Yeah. We could dunk from half crater easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Forget half crater. We could dunk from the equator. Jump at the equator and slam a basketball through a hoop at the North Pole.
Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, the moon is really, really low gravity.
Well, what's it? Do we know? The percentage?
I'm looking at a lot of weird graphs here. But if the Earth is 100, the moon is 16.
Damn. Yeah, because this was just to sprinkle it in there, but yeah, kind of insane people like Terence McKenna, philosopher, madmen who kind of pioneered the psychedelic movement. They wrestled with this idea of why humans have so much so-called junk DNA. Did you know that DNA only something like 15% of it actually codes for anything. And
Wow.
most of our DNA sequence seems to code for all, or we don't know what it codes for. And Terence McKenna was like, it activates when we go to space. He was like, we are intergalactic beings, and being on Earth means that DNA doesn't activate, but as soon as we get into space, and something about the zero gravity and the radiation will activate all the so-called junk DNA.
Whoa.
And we'll actually turn into like space beings.
I mean, that hasn't happened, and people have
Nope.
been to space.
Hasn't happened yet. But like, you know, they've barely been up there, right? They barely. I bet if you take off your helmet in space, it'll activate.
It'll activate something, let me tell you.
It'll activate the blood vessels in your head exploding into a million pieces.
It would have been great if we, while doing the mission to the moon, had like planned for absolutely everything, the trajectory, the rocket fuel, the gravitational pull of the planet. And they're like, okay, the rocket's going, everything's great. They're just about to leave Earth's atmosphere and enter zero gravity. And just Neil Armstrong just becomes a spider, legs burst out of the side of his body. And it's like, well, we couldn't have planned for that. How could we have done that?
One small step for man, one strong We're like, that's not on the script.
Imagine that.
That's not on the script.
Houston, I have become a spider.
Houston, send flies. None of the onboard food is very appealing to me anymore.
Look, Kit, I know that if any of us today are going to believe that this creature, the J'ba FoFi, exists, we need more evidence than just old-timey British explorers getting killed in the 1940s. So I'm happy to say that like all great cryptids that we've investigated, Bigfoot, Mothman, the Chupacabra, the J'ba FoFi have been spotted all over the world.
What?
That's right. They don't just stay in the Congo.
Not the UK and Ireland though, right? Right?
I think I told you that I saw a pretty big one trying to attack me in the night.
That was a common household spider.
Case number 1. It's 1942, and we're in the midst of the Second World War. An Australian...
Nah, come on.
Hold on. Bear with me. An Australian soldier wrote about an encounter he had.
We're in an underground experimentation chamber in Nazi Germany.
When he discovered a large web, 10 to 15 feet across.
Yo.
In the middle of the web was a monstrously large spider the size of a puppy. It was all black with thick hair like a tarantula.
Yeah, what kind of puppy? Like, how young are we talking?
Doesn't matter
Because
how long.
the smallest a puppy gets is actually smaller
Not the size of a spider.
than a big spider.
That's not true.
It is true. Like a tiny newborn puppy is like 3 inches.
That'd be pretty small. That'd be the smallest puppy you can get.
Yeah, that's a newborn puppy. Yeah.
He saw a giant spider.
Yeah, but I just told you earlier, spiders get to be the size of a dinner plate.
Listen, he thought this
All
was
right.
worth talking about enough.
He needs to be more
All right?
specific. Are we talking a Great Dane puppy? Are we talking a Dachshund puppy? Are we talking a Chihuahua puppy?
Look, I have another sighting, also from World War II. I don't know what was happening. In an online post from a man named Craig, he detailed how his grandfather stumbled upon a J'ba FoFi in Papua New Guinea. Craig's grandfather was so stunned by this huge spider that he killed it with a machete.
Good man.
No hesitation, nothing. And I assume this is like that spider from Lord of the Rings. You like cut off a leg and it's like, but it's still going, you know?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't even talked about, the 2 fictional spiders, hopefully fictional, that always come to my mind are, I never get it right, Aragog?
Which one is that?
And Shelob.
It's Aragog.
Which one? Shelob is Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
Yes,
Shelob's lair.
that's the one that Frodo almost gets killed by.
And then I think Aragog was the Harry Potter one. I think there's one Harry Potter, isn't there?
Oh.
I think that's it. I f this up every time. People always make fun of me, but I think those are the 2 fictional spiders.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're like giant ones.
There could be a loose inspiration from this creature. We've seen that a lot before, where monsters in popular film are actually inspired by the legends of cryptids that allegedly did exist. I mean, I gotta say, if I was a soldier in World War II and I came across a creature like this, I'd probably come out of the hole and be like, time out, guys, real quick, time out. Look, I know that we're fighting each other because of small differences that we have. We have a new enemy, and he has a lot more differences than that, specifically legs and eyes.
Yeah, well, we do know that in war, animals are very often deployed as weapons of war in kind of sometimes unfortunate ways. You have ancient war elephants through to more modern, I think, didn't the US Army experiment with attaching lasers to dolphins or something?
You could also just say horses.
I think
Before we hit laser dolphins, they also use horses in war.
I think that's boring. I think in World War II or something, didn't they strap bombs to dogs and train dogs to love tanks? They like put treats under tanks and train. It's really sad to train the dogs to be like, yeah, there's treats under every tank. And then they strapped a stick of dynamite to them.
To a chihuahua,
and then
just let him go.
That I've said it a million times. The most bizarre one was, I think, during the illegal war on terror in 2001. There was a country that that pledged to give America like 20,000 monkeys for the war, and they were like, what are we gonna do with those? And they were like, just send them into a minefield, let them clear the mines.
The monkeys will just run over all the mines. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I couldn't remember if I dreamt that or not.
Yeah, the Monkey Minefield.
Yeah.
Monkey Minefield is a good prog band name or something.
It's true. Very few people have utilized spiders.
Yeah.
Bugs.
Sorry, getting back to the point. Yeah, like that's the thing. Right before you hack its legs off with a machete, you'd be like, is this guy useful somehow? Is this guy useful? Well, like I said earlier, ride him into battle.
I gotta say, though, if there are two sides of a war and you're on the side that are riding spiders into the battlefield, you're the bad guys. Yeah. You are the bad guys, objectively the bad guys. No good guy has ever ridden on the back, fought alongside spiders and bugs.
I know, imagine you're like trapped in a prisoner of war camp. You've been captured by the opposing side. And then a guy riding a giant spider throws open the cage. It's like, come with me, brother, get on top. I'd be like, I'm good. I'll take my chances in the cage.
Yeah. I'm going to wait for like a chill bug to come, like a caterpillar or a ladybird.
Yeah. I can't remember why we said this before, but we talked about giant beetles being like, get in, brother.
Yeah. It sounds like a crazy idea using insects and creatures like this in war. Remember when we covered DARPA, the secret government organization known as DARPA on this podcast? And they declassified a bunch of their operations that they'd done over the years. All we got were the names, not the details of what they were, but one of them was Operation
Insect Allies?
Insect Allies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so ominous.
What a weird... This isn't
mean?
A joke or a bit. Like, you can look this up. And I don't know what they were trying to do.
I mean, yeah.
Strap bombs to bees. I mean, that is all pretty grim. I can't say necessarily that I believe the J'ba FoFi is involved in any of that. I think we're looking at more likely some sort of ancient creature that has existed.
I think the only side that J'ba FoFi is on is like some kind of Lovecraftian ancient god. Yeah. I don't think he cares for the tribulations of man.
Yeah, and he's not doing a good job as a god because the locals are killing and eating him.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you search for this creature online, you'll see dozens of testimonies from people who have claimed to have seen the J'ba FoFi. For example, one user, DD52161, said, I briefly participated in missionary work in the Congo in the late 1980s, and I can say, hand on my heart, that me and 6 other locals witnessed a J'ba FoFi scurrying across the road into the bush just 5 feet away from us. It looked exactly like a long-legged tarantula, but it was about the size of a dog.
Wow.
Another user, named Mr. Maxima, said that during a scouting mission in Vietnam, their father-in-law, who was a soldier at the time, encountered massive spiders that had bodies the size of dinner plates, and estimated that the total length of the legs to be 30 inches. Upon seeing the creatures, He and his team opened fire with their M16 rifles. And although the spiders had been hit, they were still moving around.
Whoa.
Horrifying stuff. I mean, in my head now, we're reaching, have you ever seen Starship Troopers?
Yeah.
That type of level of bug.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially the size of a small SUV walking around, soldiers just unloading machine guns into it, and it's bleeding green everywhere.
Yeah. Look, what are we dealing with here? You know, are we getting into a living fossil? Because we should address the fact that bugs used to be this size. Bugs used to be this size on Earth.
Yeah, I think they used to be bigger. I mean, let's just get into this now, debating the science behind this. Dr. Carl Schuker is a British zoologist and a writer known for numerous articles and books on cryptozoology. And when talking about the J'ba FoFi, he says the main problem with a creature like this existing at that size is that spiders aren't able to transport oxygen through its body efficiently enough. That's one of the limiting factors as to why we don't have giant spiders, is because they reach a point where they can live and they don't get any bigger.
Yeah, because like I said, there was a time on Earth when bugs were different sizes. That was due to the drastically different conditions of life on Earth at that time. It was much, much, much hotter specifically. And I think maybe even the atmosphere was made up of different gases.
Yeah. Well, that is one of the explanations as to why people think a creature like this could, in theory, still exist, is because if a limiting factor in regards to growth is not being able to transport oxygen, as we know, there are certain parts of the world that do have much higher oxygen levels.
Oh.
Which could, in theory, allow a tarantula-like species to grow even larger than
I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I knew there was places like mountains where there's less oxygen. I didn't know there was somewhere where there's more.
I think
I should go there when I'm hungover.
I think so. I think it does vary. I mean, it's not going to be like super oxygen, but obviously, you know, a place like the Congo where you're just surrounded by that amount of vegetation. Yeah, the oxygen levels are very rich, I would say.
Cool.
Which is probably why you also then get a bunch of like wildlife thriving there.
Yeah, well, definitely the Congo does feel closer to the conditions, slightly closer to the conditions of ancient Earth than
True.
central London.
I'm going to look up quickly what's the biggest bug. Apparently, the current title of biggest bug can refer to either the heaviest or the longest insect. But by weight, it is the Goliath beetle.
Yeah, yep. Well, what's the biggest spider being that has ever existed? Do we know that?
Biggest spider. It becomes an interesting conversation because there are some pretty huge tarantulas, which I think are one of the biggest spiders.
Yeah.
But then there's lots of urban legends and stories, which I'm sure you've seen before, about the camel spider.
Right.
Have you seen anything about this? I remember this was like a big thing that they were like, American soldiers in Iraq have seen the camel spider. And it's like it's basically what we're talking about. It's basically a J'ba FoFi.
Yeah.
And there's like photos of this thing like roaming around. I think they are, I just Googled big spider and what the f am I looking at? There's just a ton of spiders on my laptop now. I don't like it. But what's the biggest real spider?
But also, I want to know, like, in history, like, do we know? Because we do know some bugs that used to exist. I think part of the problem is that something insects don't leave behind, because they're invertebrates, they don't leave behind bones, so we have less of a record of them. I think we rely on insects being fossilized in amber and stuff like that to be able to know what insects were like.
According to Google, currently the world's biggest spider is known as the Goliath bird eater.
Yes, this is the bird-eating mother I was talking about.
Pretty big. Still pretty big, I would say. By leg span, it can have a body length of up to 13 centimeters. So pretty big, still not the levels that we're dealing with today. And apparently the largest known extinct insect is the Meganeuropsis permiana, which is a enormous dragonfly.
Okay, yeah, that rings a bell.
That's pretty cool. It has a wingspan of 28 inches.
Okay, honestly...
You could ride it on the back of this thing like it's Avatar.
Yeah, honestly, I thought it'd be bigger, but that is massive.
That's crazy. Now, Kit, I know that you wouldn't be happy today if I ended the episode without showing you any physical evidence.
I don't really want to see any spiders. That's fine.
This is it. If you Google this, all you're going to see is pictures of spiders, which I don't want to do to you. I don't want to do to myself.
Yeah.
But what I do have is the only reputable footage of a J'ba FoFi
Ooh.
in the wild.
Wow.
Captured by some sort of night vision camera. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, footage is kind of blurry. It's late at night. The creature is in the corner. You can really barely see it. But people have said that this is the only credible footage of the beast. As I said, most of the other sightings took place in the late 1800s, early 1900s. But check this out. You're gonna wanna look at the top right of the screen. Look very closely. Did you see it?
Nope. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. All right. It's worrying that Rory's got the video up here and it says J'ba FoFi caught on camera brackets enhanced version. It's like, brother, if this is the enhanced version, I don't want to see that unenhanced.
There's nothing to see.
So
in the other version.
all right. So you walk me through what you see in this blank video.
Look specifically right in this corner, my friend. I'm going to crank up the brightness for you. This corner. There it is.
That's nothing. That is nothing. That is nothing. That is less than nothing.
Did you not see it? Do you want me to go back again?
I don't need to see it again. It's, I mean, like, I witness movement in the form of pixels changing color because something in the camera is moving allegedly.
Sure.
It's a, like, I mean, when you say blur, the word blurry doesn't do it justice. It's like it could be a dog.
No.
It could be a cloud. It could be any noun you can really think of.
It
could be a drone. It could be, there's no shape. There is no definition to what is happening.
Yeah, you really have to.
So to say it is the mythical being J'ba FoFi itself caught on video. It's like, might as well be Ring door cam footage.
I think if you showed someone this footage who hadn't been prepped with the knowledge that a beast like that exists, they'd be like, what do you mean? How would you have thought that's a spider? Like, there's
nothing to indicate it's a spider.
Whereas, like, knowing that people think it's a spider, your brain is already like, oh yeah, I think those are the legs. I can kind of see it.
Yeah.
It's really not that easy to see. It's just blurry night vision footage, unfortunately. And as I said, it doesn't do our case any favors today that is the best and only footage, a credible sighting of this creature.
You know, with these kind of cases, I think what would best inform me on how to feel about these kind of cryptids in, let's say specifically the Congo, is I think I would need to go to the Congo. I think I need, which is not going to happen. This is an extremely unstable environment. The Democratic Republic of Congo has experienced unbelievable, sadly, warfare, turmoil, government collapse and stuff over the years. It's not an easy place to travel, hence part of why it's so unseen. I mean, I think you can go there. People go all the time, shoot documentaries and all kinds of things, and I'm sure travel recreationally, but not the easiest place to get across. But I think if I did go, I guess I have the suspicion that if I went, I would feel like these people and I would realize we don't know what's going on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I think if I had a tangible sense of that, whereas I live in Northern Europe, I live a modern life. I don't encounter nature very much outside of the beach. In my world, in my head of Wikipedia and social media, the experience of the world that I have leads me to believe that we found everything all the corners of the earth have been explored, that we pretty much know all the animals that are out there, and the scientific consensus is that these creatures don't exist.
Yeah.
But I have a sense that if you are the guy with the safari hat hacking through the jungle in 2025, you probably feel differently.
We've got that kindergarten level understanding of the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
We're like, yep, I know about all the animals. Cow go moo, chicken go cluck, sheep go baa, cat dog. Yeah, we know all of them. Whereas
J'ba FoFi go hang, 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 hang.
shoot a web at me. Yeah. Once you go to these kind of environments, it is, we just don't know. I was trying to think about what is probably the closest I've ever been to this, because I've been to, at the most, some pretty weird places in Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the last time I was in Singapore, and me and my brother decided to do this day trip you can take to these islands off the coast, kind of in the middle of the ocean. I was trying to look up what they're called. I don't actually remember. Very small little islands. But the boat essentially drops you off in the morning and then leaves.
They leave you with a coconut and a bottle of water. And good luck.
They say on the boat, they're like, look, come with food and water. There's nothing on the island. It's like an abandoned island out in the ocean. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Don't miss the boat.
This is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. This is scary. I don't like this.
I wish I could remember the name of it. I was just trying to Google. But essentially, we spent the whole day walking along these just islands, many of which are just completely uninhabited. And it's just jungle paths. Mm-hmm. And like you're like walking through, and there's like huge big leaves. The humidity and heat is unbelievable. You're walking between trees and you feel like webs and stuff, or like bugs touching your neck. It feels like you're in Jumanji or something.
Yeah.
It's very otherworldly. And even that is such a tamer version of what it would be like to be in the thick jungles of the Congo.
Yeah, or deep in the Amazon or something.
Exactly. So yes, I do appreciate that as armchair paranormal investigators in a cushy London studio, we can't necessarily be the final say in whether or not a creature like this exists.
You know what? I think I've said this story on the podcast before, but I loved it, and it's one of my favorite examples of how weird the world is and how different the world is when you live in one of these places. I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago when, and I believe this was in South America, maybe in the Amazon. I think was it like a plane went down and like 3 children were missing. And they knew they had never arrived where they were supposed to be, and so there was this panic that like we need to find these children deep in the rainforest that are they are hopefully still alive, and we need to find them before they starve to death or die of thirst. And this enormous hunt took place to try and find them. We had government authorities, hundreds, thousands of people looking for them. And to cut a long story short, the guy that found them was like a local tribesman type guy who had taken ayahuasca, the psychedelic jungle tea, which has been used by tribes for thousands of years. And they were like, how'd you find them? And he was like, the plants told me. The plants told me where they were. And then they talked to the kids, and the kids were like, yeah, the jungle told us how to like find help. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
These people, this is where they live. This is their world. This is their dojo. They understand these things, and we don't. Yeah,
it's very true. I'm not going to recommend that you take ayahuasca to find missing children, because that's not going to happen 99%
I'm just
of the
saying,
time.
If we have 1,000 guys looking for the kids, let one guy take ayahuasca. Let him cook. Let him cook the tea and take it.
My version of that is me showing up to a McDonald's at 10 p.m. and they're like, how'd you know that we were still open? And I say, the weed told me.
Yeah, the plant medicine told me. It spoke to me and said, yeah, they're still doing hash browns.
The weed said, you want a Happy Meal. Kit, at the end of every episode, we have to come down on a conclusion. You've heard some testimonies from people all over the years, dating back from British explorers to soldiers in Vietnam. We've even seen kind of a video of one of the J'ba FoFi crawling about in the desert. What are your thoughts at the end of today's episode investigating this cryptid, the giant spider?
Hey, lots of similarities to the Macaulay Mbembe, an allegedly unextinct being that is still alive in the depths of Earth's jungles and least explored places. And it just lives in that perfect sliver of possibility. There's that's the thing with this type of cryptid. It's not magic.
No.
It's not floating. It's not levitating. It's not telepathic.
Yeah.
So far as we know. So it gives it a little bit of plausibility. So I actually don't really know how to feel. My instinct with these sometimes, and maybe this is a cop-out, is that do I think it's there today? Hard to say. Do I think it might have been there 100 years ago? Now that's a little more possible because, you know what else was around 200 years ago? The dodo.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
Where's your head at?
I guess this is where we get a little bit mixed up and a little in the weeds with figuring out what is a cryptid and what is just an animal that is died out. Dinosaurs aren't cryptids. I believe the definition of a cryptid is a creature unknown to science.
Yeah. If they weren't cryptids. If one was alive today, could be a cryptid. Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to say if there's a world where this thing does exist, which I'm not sure about. Famously, spiders are also like fish. I feel like anyone who has an encounter with a big one, they usually exaggerate.
That's that's big of you to say that after your story earlier, to admit that.
Mine was a monster.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
All right.
Mine looked like someone controlling a black claw machine was trying to claim my face as a prize. Yes, I think people tend to exaggerate whenever they see big bugs.
Yeah.
In general. Unless you are an Australian listener of the podcast, you might be the only ones that are not exaggerating about the size of your bugs. So I think today, in this case, I'm going to say no. I think maybe there is a breed of spider out there that is incredibly large. Maybe the locals don't know the term or word we would use for that breed of spider, so they have their own name for it. But I don't think there is some like missing link mythological prehistoric spider beast roaming about in the woods.
I agree with that. I think it's a no. I agree. I think even the description sometimes of it being quote puppy sized. We're
getting smaller and smaller.
It's as I say, puppies. There's big ass puppies out there.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. Sometimes you see a big ass puppy. There's also tiny ones. So we're getting too close to where the known size of the largest spiders.
Yeah, you can't have one story where it's 5 feet in length, like the size of some humans.
Yeah.
And then also ones where it's like the size of a really big normal spider.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, one story said it was like a puppy. Another story said it was like a dog. It's like, okay, so we're still in puppy territory. Or it's like an old puppy. Yeah, dog. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a no this week. But thank you for this suggestion. In that email, they actually listed off a ton of great cryptids that are out in the Congo, including the Macaulay Mbembe.
Mm-hmm.
So this might not be the last time that we go back to the Congo.
TPL road trip. We go to the Congo. It is going to be dangerous. It is going to be hot. It is going to take 3 weeks in a canoe to get to the heart of the jungle itself.
Whoa!
I think it'll be worth it.
Where is, if you could go to any location on Earth where there has been allegedly hot paranormal activity, where would you go? Do you have a preference? Because a lot of people, from me, they talk about Peru. I think I'd like to go to Peru.
Yeah, I do think somewhere in I know it's casting a wide net, but I do think the continent of Africa, I know we've just talked about it. I think there is a lot to be explored here. There's a huge untapped world of cryptids for us there. Hard to pin down though.
Yeah.
The Congo is a little much for me to bite off maybe, but somewhere.
Yeah. And I think if we did, we would need an incredible amount of help from the locals to survive the night.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I was just on holiday in France and I can't handle mosquitoes. There was one mosquito trapped in the bathroom and I almost had a meltdown.
Dude, honestly, this is going to sound so stupid to Americans and people who live in a place with mosquitoes. But yeah, I when I was in San Francisco last, there was a mosquito in my bedroom And this motherfucker went to town on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like woke up and it looked like I had chicken pox. This guy was drinking hard all night. And this is maybe a little gross for listeners of the podcast who don't have a lot of experience with mosquitoes. But if you kill those guys, they're full of blood.
Yeah, it splats everywhere.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And I'm like, dude, that's my blood.
And it's kind of interesting because then if you sometimes you smoke them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I got him before he got me. That's interesting.
Damn, little homie was starving.
yeah, you feel kind of bad, yeah.
Poor little guy.
It's like, you know what, you can have a last meal and then I'll smoke you. let him suck on your arm for a second and then...
It's kind of like, when you kill someone in GTA and all the money bursts out of them?
Yeah.
That's like mosquitoes. You can tell if they were rich or poor whenever you kill them, how much blood comes out. Yeah, gross. Very happy that we live in a place that really we don't have to worry about bugs.
And people sometimes say, they'll be like, if a mosquito sucks your blood and then it's by weight, it is more your blood than mosquito. Is it like it is an extension of you? That's weird, man.
Yeah, you're like, you have the newspaper rolled up, you're about to hit it, and he looks you in the eyes and he's like, Father. You're like, what? Father. This is weird. I think I want to extra kill you now. I know this is trying to make me feel bad, but this is
I'm paying goddamn child support to a bug.
We share blood, Father. All right, shut up. Here's $20. Get out of here, all right? Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. A great listener submission. If you have your own stories that you either want us to investigate or maybe it's a story that has happened to you personally, we want to hear about it. Send it in to thisparanormallifepodcast@gmail.com. Well, I'm happy to say that very soon we are going to be heading to the land of mosquitoes. That's right. Kit and I are coming to the United States of America and Toronto to perform live all across the country. It's going to be a blast. You can pick up your tickets for those shows right now and come and hang out with us in person.
Yeah, if you come to our US and Canadian tour this August, which is imminent, I think, you're going to feel like you're in the Congo because for some reason we thought it would be an awesome idea to go to New York in August, to Dallas, Texas in August.
Right.
Awesome idea.
Toasty. Lugging around 6 suitcases.
Yeah, it's going to be toasty. But it's going to be cool because you know what's disgusting? New York in summer. But do you know what else New York in summer is? Sexy, exciting,
sexy.
Rain pouring. Everyone's wearing swim shorts in the street.
Hell yeah.
You know, it's vibrant. It's electric. So hopefully we can capture some of that weird, freaky energy.
Oh yeah.
And bring that to a live podcast on stage. Tickets in the description of this pod.
Get them right now. And of course, if you can't make it to the shows, but you still want to support the podcast, the best way to do so is over on patreon.com/ThisParanormalLife. Didn't realize I was going to have to do the robot voice.
Do that?
I thought the link was shorter, but once you commit to the robot voice,
because I was
very hard to stop.
Making a thing of being like, yo, tour is going to be like, you like play the samba music because it's going to be a party. And you were like, also, www.thisparanormal. Yeah, then you started listing URLs.
We're doing like very different vibes to wrap up the podcast. You're like, it's going to be a jungle party. And I'm like, affirmative. It will be good fun. Over on Patreon, you can get a ton of amazing rewards, ad-free episodes, bonus episodes, weekly bonus episodes. Boom. We raffle off cool shit from the studio and from our own investigations.
Boom.
And of course, you can also get your very own Patreon shout out at the end of the podcast. Just one to do today. So you're going to get very special treatment here. Thank you to James Ball. This was the secret agent before MI5 found James Bond. And they kind of sent him on missions and he was like, the name's Ball. James Ball. But he just, like, he did all the parts that James Bond does, like the drinking and the gambling and smoking and stuff. And then he just never did the mission.
Yeah.
So they would be like, James, you dropped the ball.
Yeah, he dropped the ball.
That's what they would say. So yeah, he was quickly replaced. Yeah. I think they sent him on a mission to probably like Ecuador, but there wasn't actually anyone there or anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm here. What do you guys need me to do? The phone number is like disconnected.
He's like, guys, honestly, it's hot as ball in here. But good news, James, because, I'll be honest, we'll take the scraps of MI5 because here in the commune, we need an intelligence program because we're dumb as So if we could kind of get you spying on rival communes.
Oh, that's
things
pretty
like
good.
That,
Yeah.
You
Bit of
know?
like a double agent or something like that.
We'll give you a license to kill. Everyone in the commune has one, to be honest.
You get one of those at the door.
Yeah, it's fine.
So thank you so much, James. Welcome to the commune. Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Apologies to those of you like myself that can be a little squeamish with spiders.
Yikes.
Hopefully you weren't triggered, and we're conquering our fear together. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. We'll see you again soon for another paranormal tale.